What's up, y'all? So we are reviewing the new Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. Spoiler alert, I have never watched Summer House. I don't know what she gives. I don't know what she's about. I don't know what her intended audience is. I don't know what the purpose is. I have no idea. It's an all black cast, so obviously I'm gonna tune in because I want to support black businesses. There was a lot to cover. There was a lot to cover. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I've never seen Summer House, so I don't necessarily know the formula, and I don't know how the show is built or produced. But I'll tell you what I saw. I think that there was a lot going on. I think they were moving extremely fast. I'm gonna say extremely fast, but I'm not saying too fast. But they were moving fast. I wasn't getting a great opportunity to get to know the cast members. And even off the top of my head, I couldn't even tell you how many there are right now. And I was having a very hard time keeping up with their names. I'm bad with names anyway. I just feel like when I come into a show, I'm trying to get to know the characters first so I can move that aside, because I think, like, especially on reality TV, you get to know the characters, you start understanding their dynamics, and then you just kind of see the growth or of those characters or whatever they give throughout the season. I don't know. I got that, but I didn't get it fully. But let's jump into it and let's see. Who is Jasmine's man? Silas, right? Sorry. So yeah, Silas and Preston. Jasmine and Silas. I don't know why they were at the forefront of things, but yes. But Silas is, nice. He seems nice. Preston comes in, and Preston and Silas are line brothers, which means basically they crossed at the same time on the same line for the same Greek organization. I think that that's cool. I'm also Greek, so I can imagine being on a television show with one of my line brothers. I hope that we get to see them interact and show their dynamic as LBs, because I think that that's cool, and I think that that's cool for like the Black Greek community to see. I did think that it was very cringe to see them doing their like handshake, alpha handshake on there and it being on camera. Not to their fault or anything, because when I greet my LBs, we do our greeting as well. But I think it was just weird for the cameras to zoom in and be like secret handshake. Bria and her dog Milo. I live for Bria. I just do. Like, I don't know. It was something about her walking in with that dog perched up and just like I just loved it. So I like Bria, and as the episode went on, I feel like Bria definitely has some layers to her that I would like to see more of. And seems like a very smart girl. So I liked Bria, and I liked Milo, and I like that Bria don't go nowhere without Milo. Every single scene, even when she was laying there, which we're gonna get to with the like leg machine on thing, Milo was laying right there like that. And I love that. So that was cute to me. What I will say is though, I did feel like Jasmine was giving it much. Like when she was doing the theatrics, like with the dog thing, I was trying to figure out what is the dilemma. Like it was like she wasn't saying anything. So like as she was doing it, I was kind of leaning into the TV like this. I'm like, what you saying, sis? Like, what is the problem? But then I did take myself back, and I was like, okay, black people and dogs sometimes just don't mix. Some black people just don't like dogs. And then also, like, dogs do shed, so that's irritating. Dogs do bark, that's irritating. Dogs pee and poop everywhere, so that can be irritating. So I guess I understand that, but I guess it didn't really connect for me. I wish that she had just initially said, like, I have an issue because Bria bought this dog. Some black people don't fuck with dogs, and she didn't give us prior notice. I think that that could have been very easy and we could have moved on. I did see some people on Twitter like having a big debate about black people and dogs. So I guess some people out there were very triggered. And I will say like some black people are very afraid of dogs. So I will say that. Even little dogs like Milo. So I'm going to go ahead and just give y'all that, and I will never take away from y'all experience with dogs. Things happen. And as they were walking around the house, I didn't catch it originally, but I guess it was a sore subject for Bria that Jasmine was like, so, like, there's some great guys coming and, like, they're around your age, da 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 da. Even aside from Bria already being in a relationship and that being inappropriate to her, I thought that that was cringe. I don't know that it was established to me that they were even close enough for that. So if I had walked into a house situation for the summer and somebody was like, there's going to be other people here and we can get you set up, it's just like, I don't even know you like that. And like, we haven't even gotten to my room yet. Like, where's my room? Where am I going to be resting? Where do I shower? Are we eating tonight? Like, You know what I'm saying? So that to me was also kind of cringe. But okay. Jordan, who I also really enjoyed. But I just don't feel like I got enough foundation. So even when she was in the car and she was on the phone with one of their other friends, who I guess is coming later on, it felt like on the first watch, because I watched it twice, it felt like on the first watch she was reading Jasmine. And maybe it's because I was watching Jasmine at the same time and I was kind of like, Jasmine's a little bit of a read. Like she has a bit of a much like a bit of much going on. She's a nice girl, but she had a lot going on. She was doing a lot. So she was a bit of a read. When they jumped to Jordan, it felt like Jordan was reading Jasmine. So I was like, I thought they said they were friends. Like Jasmine called her a sister cousin. But on the second watch, I was like, okay, she's just being, it's fun shade. You know what I'm saying? It's just a kiki between friends. Like I guess they're a friend group, and she was talking to her other friend, like, "Girl, you know how Jasmine is." Da 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 da. So okay, Alex and Nick who came in together, which I didn't love. Maybe I'm biased because they got introduced as like the Kappas that were coming in. I'm also a Kappa, so that was like, oh, okay, cool. But they came in together. They kind of got grouped together at first. So I was like, dang. First of all, more names, and second of all, like, where's the differentiation? Like, I want to know who is who. Like, let one walk in while the other one is unbuckling his seatbelt in the car, and then he can come in 5 minutes later. Nick and Alex seemed cool. I cannot remember which one I thought was cooler. I wish I could give them more notes. Let's take a look at the Google. Okay, so Nick was the one with the extensive wardrobe, which from Google he does dress nice. I enjoy him. He seemed very level headed. I would like to see what he brings for the group. I'm excited to see him interact. Yeah, he just seemed cool. Like when he was around, he just seemed like somebody. I think they show him a couple times in the house, just kind of like chilling in the kitchen and minding his business. So he seems like somebody that'll be there just to like interact with the group and have a good time and just be there. So I'm excited to see that. I actually really enjoy Alex. I just seemed like he was very articulate about who he is and what he's into and what he's not into. So I like that. Amir's cute. Like I liked his backstory about being Lebanese and being mixed and not knowing his father and not being able to get in touch with his black side. I liked that a lot. What was confusing to me was almost this forced narrative of Amir and Jordan. I don't know if that was like let's set the tone for it or if that was like a natural thing. I forgot how they said they knew each other. I think they said they met in a group chat, which was confusing to me. But if that's what it's giving, then cool. Put me in some more group chats because I would love to connect. I don't even know if I felt like I saw attraction, like, Jordan being attracted to Amir. And I don't even know. I mean, I guess I felt like Amir was attracted to Jordan, but it was very small flirting. And then the girls even posted on social media, like, well, Amir has a girlfriend, so we're not even interested in this storyline. And I wasn't interested before I found that out. So, Mariah, who I also thoroughly enjoyed, I love a shady queen. Like, she just came in, she literally came in like, don't bother me, I won't bother you. Yeah, like, what's up? Loved it. Like, that's all I need. That told me enough about her personality to me. And even as the episode went on, when Preston was describing her as like laid back and chill, it was like perfect. That's great because we already have Jasmine running around the house. So it's like, and we have Milo running around as well. How many people can run around the house? You know what I'm saying? So like Mariah, cool, do your big one. Even Mariah kind of read Jasmine. Like, she was kind of talking about how Jasmine was like, oh, when we come to the Hamptons and we're in the Hamptons, like, when we do the Hamptons, she was like, she's only been to the Hamptons twice. So, like, I'm trying to figure it out. Like, are y'all friends or what? We get to this story from Jordan. Oh my God, it was so cringe because y'all know I like Nick. But we get to this story from Jordan. I guess the whole thing is like Amir is attracted to Jordan and Nick is attracted to Jordan. And Jordan basically let it be known that she wasn't feeling Nick, that Nick used to slide in her DMs and like give her heart eyes and all this type of emoji type stuff. You know those dudes. And she just wasn't feeling it. She thought it was lame or whatever word she used. So she restricted him or blocked him or whatever. So I thought that was interesting. I would love to hear Nick touch on that. But he seems like such a nice guy. I definitely don't see them being a thing, but I would love to like hear his perspective on it because it didn't seem to stop him. Like in the house, it still seemed like he was like interacting with her, and just have like having regular conversation with her. It also didn't feel like he was just like lusting over her and doing too much. So, social media can be confusing, it can be misleading. Like some people, the way that they communicate on social media can be a little cringe and it can be a little bit too forward, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's how they are in real life. So maybe that's the case here. Again, I still don't think that there'll be a couple, but I'm excited to I would like to hear Nick's take on it if they're gonna get to it, but who knows. So we get back to Amir. And Amir was talking about how, like, he didn't grow up with his black side of the family, so he wasn't used to getting fades and, like, keeping up his appearance, I guess, or whatever. And then he mentioned, like, but girls hit me up all the time now. Like, they DM me all the time now, 50 to 100 a day. And I was like, so? That was just cringy to me. But okay, that sounds like something a producer would make you say. Just to, like, let us know who he is. Like, oh, Amir is hot on Instagram. Like, he's the one. He's the cute one. I'm hoping that he doesn't normally walk around saying things like that, because this is not something that should be said. I know that you would just be like, so how do these connect in a sense of an episode? And they don't like, we was just doing this in the episode. They don't connect, so I apologize. We get to press. They were sitting at the table and somebody had said the word black excellence. I think that they were talking about the fact that they were in the Hamptons. There's a group of black people and they're like, this is black excellence here. Like, when you're just having a fun little moment and maybe you do a cheers and you're like, to black excellence. Like, we're all black here and we're all doing big things, whatever, da da da. And Preston gets into it where he's like, I don't like the term black excellence. And it's like, it's so okay to have an opinion. It's actually overly okay to have an opinion. And it's actually overly okay to have that view. And it's actually overly okay to bring that perspective to the show. And I'm glad that he did. However, I'm getting the sense that Preston can be a little bit preachy. And I think that that's highlighted, or maybe it was inhibited by the way that production kept playing the organ church music behind him when he was speaking. And how they would always pan to the group looking like, while he was speaking or after he spoke. So I don't know if that was happening in real time. I don't know if everybody else in the cast perceived that. I don't know if they have that opinion of him, but that's how it came off on the show. And maybe it could be unfair that they did that to him. That can be an unfair edit.
We are excellent too, right? So it's not to say it's either or, but I think the versions that we see of us is a part of who we are. That's just something I just truly believe. People say to me, you don't have to say everything that's on your mind.
I think that is an important topic, and there are definitely going to be people that relate to that. But I do also feel like there is a place and a time. And in the context of how it was perceived and presented in the episode, the way that the conversation was going, and it was just a fun conversation, I don't know if I feel like it was the time to say, like, I hate the term black excellence. You know what I'm saying? But I do think it's fair to have that opinion. I think it's great to hear that perspective. I think that what he said was good and it made sense. I just don't think that I don't think that we were having that moment at that moment. But cool. I applaud him for being able to do that. We get to what I think was most interesting but also most confusing was this relationship between Jazz and Bria. Obviously the whole episode, it felt like Jasmine was, I just nicknamed her Jazz. I don't know if anybody else was calling her Jazz. I'm sorry if you don't want to be identified by that. That's how I had it in my notes. Jasmine is a long name to type. It felt like Jasmine was picking at Bria, and I love that Jordan came in a little bit later and was just like, it feels like there's some judgment. It feels like it's coming from Jasmine's end. And I'm like, great, because Jordan is Jasmine's sister cousin. So it's just like, yeah, like, hold your friend accountable, and that's not a negative thing. Like, we all have our moments where we just get a little bit too over analytical about other people that we just don't know, and maybe we're being judgy and we start picking at them. Like, that's human nature, unfortunately. I do like that Jordan was able to identify that for her friend. It just felt like Jasmine was a little bit irritated by Bria in some sense, and maybe it was more so of which she kind of said, I don't really know her like that. I'm still getting to feel her out, and she's already kind of doing some weird stuff for me. So I feel like that was making Jasmine act a certain type of way towards Bria, whereas Bria was just kind of living her life. It doesn't necessarily seem like Bria's too invested in what everybody else is doing. She kicking it with Milo. Like, she is interacting with the group, but she's not necessarily worried about what's going on with everybody else. That's what I perceive. But we'll get into that specific conflict between the two of them a little bit later. They had gotten in the hot tub, which wasn't interesting. I would compare, like, this hot tub scene. I don't know if I ever used to watch College Hill, but I feel like College Hill was like famous for its like hot tub scenes, and like, cause it's just what I always be like, everybody was having a good time and drinking and, and drama or a good conversation or whatever was gonna happen from that. This felt like everybody get in the hot tub. We're filming in the hot tub. We need everybody in the hot tub. Do something. Go. It was very flat for me. One thing that did happen in the hot tub, which I wish hadn't happened, my boy Alex started singing. And I don't mean to knock him on that, because he may very well be serious about his singing, which is great. And I'm glad that he had the opportunity to do that. It wasn't not that it was bad. It caught me off guard, and I'll make it a me thing. I'll say I was just watching Love Is Blind recently, and like when they would do the singing in the pod, like I don't like this. It just, I don't know. Like, maybe it's me. Like, maybe I need a therapist, but something about like breaking out into song sets me off a little bit. Like, I don't know. It's a little different for me. And it was the highlight of him being related to John Legend, and that took me even more off of the guard. Like, I was just like, well, he don't sound nothing like no John Legend, so I don't know that we needed that fun fact, but that's cool. Like, we're learning things about him, but I don't know, it felt like it was meant to be it felt like, if I was putting that together, like in production or editing, I would feel like this is a Kiki moment. A lot of this was cringy to me. I don't know if the premise of Summer House is to be a little cringe, like cringe TV. Is there a genre? Maybe there's a genre for that, but it was a little cringe. At night, everybody was going to bed. They showed Jasmine and Silas in bed, basically about to have sex. And we got a little glimpse of Silas's cheeks, which I definitely didn't mind. If that's part of the show, I don't mind that. I will probably come back for that type of television. But it was a little cringy. So whatever. And we're only halfway through the list. Like, there was so much happening. Jasmine and Mariah's backstory, which I enjoyed. Like I said, I want some context. How do you people know each other? This story, I heard it on the first watch, but on the second watch, I realized how much of a key it was. I'm like, damn. So basically, Jasmine from New York, she calls Mariah like, hey girl, come on, move to New York. Like, let's do our thing. Like, let's be here together. And they're both writers. So I don't remember if they explicitly stated this, but I'm assuming that was a part of the thing. Like, come out here and let's write and let's do our thing and let's live life. And when Mariah got out there, which is not funny, but I'm just saying, it's like this, the way the story was told is a key. Like, when Mariah got out there, she realized that Jasmine was being evicted. So they ended up being evicted, and thank God, Mariah had showed up with a car, because then they started living out of her car. So that made me think, like, so did Jasmine know that she was being evicted when she invited Mariah? Did she know that, she needed somebody like as a support system since she was going to be being evicted? Did she know that Mariah was going to have a car? Was that part of the plan? It will make things more like, helpful. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just what I started thinking. The story flew by so quickly. So I was just like, it's no way in hell that she was just like, come move out here, girl. Everything's going to be great. And then it was like, wait, but damn, I'm getting evicted. And then it was like, oh, but you have a car. Great. At the end of the day, they just ended up making a TV show about it, which I think is great. They can find humor in that, I guess, and be creative and work off of that. But the story itself, that was a key. Like, there's got to be more to that. But maybe they were trying to keep it light. Summer house. Not too much context, just fun. This is when we started to get some continuity in the episode, praise God. Mariah and Jasmine come together because they want to write, and they're in the sunroom so that they can write. And that's when they give their backstory about what they write about and what they do and how they know each other. But as they're sitting down, I guess there's dog hair all over the couch. There's only one dog in the house. So we know we're talking about Milo, who is related to Bria. Immediately, they are just like, ugh. When Mariah's just like, that's one of my pet peeves. And I'm like, I feel you. Because dog hair, that's not, yeah, it's not great. Like, don't nobody want to sit up in no dog hair. So I feel you. But Jasmine, maybe I'm giving Jasmine a bit too much. But it just felt like Jasmine was already annoyed by Bria. So that's when she was just like, she's like, we can't even have a productive writers meeting without there being dog hair everywhere, and the couch is white, so there's dog hair everywhere. She had used tape to like get the dog hair off of the couch. She goes and everybody's like outside kicking in. She's like, hey Bria, like holding up the tape. Hey Bria, and you know it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And Bria, like, cause she's like, Bria, there's dog hair like everywhere, and Bria's like holding Milo. She's like, where? And she's like, in the sunroom. We're doing some writing. There's like dog hair in the sunroom. And Bria's like, okay. Like, the way that they showed it on the show felt like Bria was immediately dismissive. She's like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. But I don't believe that. Maybe, look, I'm acting like I know Bria. I can text her right now, but I don't. Sorry. Like, it feels like it was cut as to where there was maybe some more like stalemated conversation, and maybe like they were going back and forth, and it was just like, because the way that Jasmine approached it was just like, let me just let you know that there's an issue. But it wasn't necessarily like, let's come to a resolution. It was more so like, there's an issue. I ain't really messing with that dog. And Bria was more so like, well, it doesn't seem like we have a middle ground, so there's nothing I can really do about it. Like, Milo's here. Hey, guys, this is Milo. Jasmine went back to Mariah, and Mariah's like, what happened, girl? And she like, girl, she just said there ain't nothing she could do. So Mariah was like, well, that's not cool. Which didn't even really feel like Mariah's personality. It felt a little produced to me, but maybe not. So at that point, Mariah was like, well, I'll go get her. Let me go get her. And she's just like, Bria, can we talk to you? She comes in. Mariah's trying to set the scene. She's like, so we were having a little girl talk, and Jasmine's like, yeah, so there's dog hair like everywhere. Like, Nick can't even do his yoga out on the front yard because there's poop, and then there's dog hair here. We can't even write our story because we got dog hair, and it's just a lot. And then even in the midst, Milo had jumped up in the pool. They're like, is it a dog in the pool? Like, it was just a lot. All of which I can understand, because like I said, black people get a little funny with dogs. You either like them or you do not. And I like a dog, but I don't like no dog hair, and I don't even swim, but I also don't necessarily want no dog up in my pool. So, opinions be opinioning in the black community as it pertains to dogs. So I understand. I don't get it being such a big conflict, but I thought it was fun to watch. I do think that Jasmine was getting a little hype. I think that that's her personality. She gets a little hype. I've said that. Mariah jumping in. She's like, well, since we're talking about it, she was like, I don't like wet dog either. Because Milo had came up in the room. He had just got out the pool. He jumping around. Mariah like, since we on the topic, I don't like no wet dog either. And then they just kept going back and forth. It really just seemed like it was Jasmine's tone and the way she was acting. I do think that she kind of inflated the issue a bit, because Bria's like, you coming at me acting crazy, and I didn't even know there was an issue. And for me as a viewer, it felt like they had only been there for 24 hours. So I was like, Jesus Christ, like this much of an issue after this much amount of time? Like, oh my God. So, at that point, Bria's like, girl, you're giving me much. And it's just like, I'm not having this conversation. Jasmine was just like, she's funny. I will say that. She's much, but she's funny. Because she was just kind of like, you brought the dog and you didn't give us like a heads up. It's like, damn, girl, you could have said that 48 hours ago. We would have understood what was going on. But then she goes into, she was like, how would you feel if I brought like a tiger? It's just like, Jasmine, shut the hell up. Now you playing, and I don't want to play. Okay, Milo just got up out the pool. I need to go dry Milo, and we need to keep it moving because he don't go nowhere I don't go, and I don't go nowhere he don't go. So we gotta go. Then we cut to later, and basically it seems like Preston is going to be, I don't know what his relationship is necessarily with Jasmine. I know obviously he's Silas's LB and Silas is married to Jasmine. It seems like they have similar perspectives, and it seems like they kiki. So it was like Preston was being a sounding board for Jasmine to just like talk about her issues with Bria. But the weird part was that Bria was laying on the couch right by them. Even as Jasmine was talking, it felt like Preston was doing this. So it was just like, did he know that Bria was over there, or was he like playing to the camera where he was trying to act like, oh, nothing's going on? Like, Bria was laying on the couch, they were kikiing, and Jasmine basically said like, Bria's getting on my nerves, and Bria was like, well, I'm laying right here. And I didn't even see Preston react because I think he knew she was right there. Jasmine got up like, oh, girl, what you doing over here on this couch? And this was when Bria was like laying there doing the leg machine. It's like I guess one of them is like a physical therapist or something like that. I don't know because they didn't give us any context for anybody, or maybe I just wasn't listening, but I don't feel like I know these people at all. Jasmine basically came over there like, girl, what is this, girl? I'm gonna have to try it. Somebody brought this, girl. I'm gonna have to try this, girl. Like, acting like she wasn't just talking shit. Bria's in her confessional like, but it's I wish, I guess that's not Bria's personality, but she didn't say that in real time. Like, she kind of just fell into it with her like, yeah, girl, this a leg machine. I'm doing a leg machine. Like, I'm on the couch doing a leg machine. Milo right here. They have this very like, I was just over there talking shit about you, but let's try to come to a common ground type of conversation. At the end of the day, it wasn't substantive. It wasn't like these are our issues. It was just like a girl, let's have a good time. And everybody burst into the house, and Jasmine's just like, okay, well, everybody get dressed. We're gonna wear all white. Me and Bria are in a better place, so we're gonna go out to dinner and we're gonna wear all white tonight. Cringe. So then they go to dinner. Immediately as they sit down, like, I don't even know if they've ordered the bread. I don't think the waitress has brought the waters. And then, at that point where they bring the water, but they don't bring you no straw, so you don't want to drink about the cup. I don't think that the waitress had brought the straws, because now we got the water, but we ain't got the straws just yet. At that point, Jasmine's already like, so is anybody here interested in anybody here? What do you guys think? Who's cute? Who gets you a little rumbly on the inside? Who do you want to take home? Who do you want to get into bed with? Who do you want to marry? Who would you take home to meet your parents? How are you guys feeling? Everybody's like, we don't know each other like that. We don't know you like that. The audience don't know us like that. We just got to dinner. We don't know the menu like that. We don't know what type of restaurant this is. Relax. And from me, I guess I wasn't paying attention to the timestamps, but at this point, it felt like they had been there for 1.5 days. So it's like, girl, I don't necessarily know. And it's kind of weird. Like, it keeps going back between, do y'all know each other or do y'all not? Because if y'all are already, for the most part, familiar with each other, to bring everybody in a room and then be like, okay, well, who wants to? That's weird. Because it's just like, girl, we're chilling right now. Like, relax. Jordan, again, as a friend, steps in and she's like, I would just like to have like some authentic conversation. Like, can we just go in and talk about like, what's on our mind? Like, let's just have some regular conversation. And Bria jumps in like, I agree. And then Jasmine's like, okay. You could tell she put her producer cards down like, okay. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Yeah, let's do that. But we'll talk about you sad single people later, for sure. She said something about, like, we'll get back to the struggles of single life later. And it's like, girl, but you just got married 2 days ago. Kind of the crux at the end of the episode, Silas had highlighted earlier in the episode that Jordan was cool and she was a good friend to Jasmine, but that, Jordan is the party friend. They keep talking about this relation to New York, so I guess they had, for the most part, all of them maybe had lived in New York at some point. I currently live in New York, so I understand. They were just talking about the party scene. It's just like, sometimes you don't go out until 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and at that point, you probably stay out to a 6, 7, or 8. It makes sense. So Silas was kind of saying like, well, Jasmine is my wife now. And like, but she wants to hang out with her good Judy sister cousin Jordan. And Jordan's single. So she stays out all the time. And it becomes this conflict between them where Jordan's just like, we're out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and your girl, like, I don't have any control over her. Like, if she's out late, then she's out late, but that doesn't have anything to do with me. And, like, I can't control the fact that New York is a vampire city. Like, girl, well, that's when we go out. Like, that's what's popping at that time. I don't know what to tell you. And in the midst of that, Preston jumps in, and immediately so does the organ and church music again. All I wrote in my all I wrote in my notes was Preston again. He's like, I date men, you know what I'm saying? So I can't necessarily relate to like what Silas is saying with regard to, you know, his wife being out late or whatever. But I also want to say, like, you know, women should be able to go out and enjoy themselves. Like, I don't think it should be like a dominion thing, like a man having dominion or control over a woman thing. Like, I guess that's what he was trying to get across. And then they pan over to Nick, and Nick is like at the end of the table.
Most straight men really have this idea that they need to be He-Man and Incredible Hulk over women consistently, even if it's rooted in love. And so, yes, a woman may want protection sometimes from their man, but that woman also decided to go out with her homegirl.
Jordan kind of mirrored what he was saying, but it also just kind of felt like, again, Preston was just kind of like Prestoning, and the production wanted to let us know that Preston was Prestoning. Didn't seem like anybody was agreeing with Silas, so it felt like Silas felt a little uncomfortable in that instance, because I think he felt very comfortable coming out with it and basically saying, I don't want my girl out late, period. I don't want her out till late hours in the morning, which is fair, but also she is grown and that's her decision to make. Everybody's saying like, well, he's kind of being weird, giving controlling vibes, and Jasmine basically saying like, that's my man. She kept reiterating, we share the same last name. We share the same last name. We are one. I'm going to support my man. So cool. Awesome.
Because we are literally one at this point, according to Jesus Christ.
I'll be back. I'll watch it some more. It was interesting. It's an all black cast. I appreciate that. I think that this show has potential to have a lot of range. I think that there are different types of black people represented on the show. But with that being said, I still don't know what the hell a summer house is. I don't know what the purpose of the show is. I feel like I'm trying to relate it to something when maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just let it stand alone. But as I think about ensemble shows that I've watched in the past where they live in the same house, I would think of like a College Hill. I would think of like a Real World. I would think of like a Jersey Shore. Obviously, they had backgrounds of like drama and fighting and sex and attraction, but it also felt like we were very tapped in with the characters and we were getting to know who the cast members were, and those things were happening, but we knew who these cast members were and we were getting background and we were seeing their dynamics with each other. Whereas Summer House, from what I'm seeing, feels like a push to be about sex and a push to be about relations. And I guess a push to have drama. Like, it feels like it's like we put all these people in these house, let's see who fights. And it's just like, relax. Like, what type of show is this? Now again, I don't mind. Like, you know, they show Silas's buns a little bit, and also Amir. They show him from behind so many times, and if I had to just come back to the show for that, I would. I've never watched The Summer House before. I'm hoping that we get to know the characters a little bit more. And they do talk a lot about Martha's Vineyard historically, and the black impact in Martha's Vineyard, which I also thought was great. I think that they did a good job of explaining the area and explaining why black people are relevant there, and why it's important. We got elements of the black community such as Greek life. Other than that, I don't know these people, and I would like to get to know these people, and I would give it like a 7.5, because I did enjoy it. It just jumped around so much, and there was so much happening. Towards the end, they showed a preview of like more house guests coming, and I was excited because I just felt like this group of house guests didn't necessarily do it for me, so I felt like I needed some more, unfortunately. Again, it's maybe because I just did not get the information that I needed about these people, but there are certain house guests that I'm really excited about thus far, but I'm definitely excited to get a fresh batch. I will see you guys next time.